I'm Annie.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah, where we talk about the smart way to create a compassionate and professional private practice.
Let's dive in. Well, hey there, Annie.
Hey there, Leah. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. How about you guys?
I am good. I'm getting excited for this month's deeper dive with Nichelle Clark. We are going to be going deep into flanges and pumps. And as if you've ever talked to Nichelle for more than 10 seconds, you'll know that she's like a massive expert on all the pumps because she's tried them all. She's ethically tried them all. She doesn't take samples or free pumps from anybody. And she knows how they all work. And she knows not just how they all work, but why they all work the way they do. And also has great insight into how to really fit people for flanges and make sure they're getting the right fit. So she's coming in for our deeper dive this month, and we'll have the link in the bio. And so for today's episode, we thought it would be fun to talk about stocking our offices. I'm a little over a year into my office. I just got a little bit more storage space inside the office. So I went to Target and I bought some fun boxes and storage things, and I reorganized everything, and which is something that I really enjoy doing.
I can get.
So we're going to talk.
Carried away with that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we thought it would be fun to talk about what's in our offices. So Leah, you've had your office spaces obviously a lot longer than I have. What are the bare minimum things that you know from experience, you have to have in your office?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first and foremost just all comes down to safety things. So you're just going to need your PPE, gloves, and if you're wearing masks, but then also ways to clean your office safely and well. So you want to make sure that you have a way to clean your scale and any diaper changing surface that you're using. And then, just those basic things that help you keep up with everything, trash bags and stuff like that. I think if you were going to do the bare minimum, that would probably get you by. But there's a lot of other really helpful things that you could have on hand that will make your job even easier. And a lot of that will come down to how you run consults for, everybody's a little bit different. Some people love to have tons of visual aids. So you might have an entire basket with different size baby dolls and different size boobs and a mouth model and, all these puppets that are available. I mean, you just might stock your office with visual aids. I even have a foam hamburger, which is one of my favorite things to pull out, show people how some breast shaping can help, and just eat on this hamburger. I do it all the time. It's so funny. And it really gets a good laugh out of everybody in the room. But then other people, they might be I talk people through, or I like to be kind of showing them with their own child. So a lot of the things that you're considering to use in your office or to purchase in your office shouldn't necessarily come from a list of you need to have X, Y, and Z, but here's all the potential things you may want. And then think about how you run your practice. Because I will tell you from experience, you can waste a whole lot of money buying all the gizmos and gadgets and props and things that people talk about. And then guess what? They just sit in that beautifully organized drawer for millennia and and then expire or have to be tossed out because they don't work anymore or disintegrated or all the things. I have a lot of stuff that I bought very early on that I literally have never used, and it's still sitting in a box somewhere, which is really sad.
I'm more of a talker, and I know this about myself, but I sublet my office from some home birth midwives. So I do use the baby doll a lot to just, mirror positioning, I'll show you and then you can copy me, but they keep the baby doll because there really isn't a lot of room in this office. So on the shelf, the baby doll is always inside the pelvis.
The pelvis. Yeah, I've seen that one, being birthed.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not even that way. It's they've got the pelvis, and then where they always put the baby back is they put the head in the pelvis. And so I'm always reaching up grabbing this pelvis, pulling the baby out. And like, it is just always makes me laugh because I'm like, I don't know what to show you about this pelvis. I know nothing about childbirth stuff. But the one thing that I bought, I did have the puppet when I was doing virtuals, but my puppet had no eyeballs. It kind of was like, I need to, for my own like sanity, I can't look at this puppet anymore.
Same.
And then
I have that same one. It's
good. It's a great mouth, but like,
it just needs eyes.
It just needs eyes and maybe not quite such a bulbous head, but that's fine. I couldn't have made it. So I'm grateful to the person who did make it.
Grateful.
The other one that I can't handle, one of my interns had the real feel breasts that you can like put on your own breast.
Yes, it has like a chest wall behind it.
No, not the big one, but it was just like one breast, but it was like, it had like feel to it. Like it was like jelly. Yes. And I was like, I tried it once. I was like, I can't touch this. I can't.
That is so funny because
sensorially, I cannot handle this.
Yes. I have those. And I literally, as a gift, I bought a case of them and gave them to doulas for a gift when I was doing this class. It was like a class for doulas about breastfeeding as like part of their gift for coming to the class was everybody got this big squishy boob, but they're not intended for the use that we're using them for. And so it was really funny when I bought like an entire case of them. I thought the person packaging this up is probably like, what could somebody be doing with this mini boob?
It was too much for me. And then it got a tear in it. And I was like,
it's like weird stuff inside of there.
It was giving me like uncanny valley vibes. I just couldn't handle it. I have been keeping like a double electric breast pump, one of the ones that I know is a good brand, in my office. I keep it there, not because I don't actually use it during the consult, like let's express your milk, but I have people coming in where they're like in desperate straits and they got a bad pump through their insurance and it might take a little time to like get a replacement pump. Or I had one person who came in and she's like, I ordered my pump through my insurance before my baby came. It was like 2 weeks postpartum. It hadn't shown up yet. So then in that case, I keep that pump on hand because I'll send it home with them.
Yeah, just like an emergency.
And then I'll say, when you get your pump, you keep my pump, bring me your pump, like replace it with the new pump that, swap it out. The first time it worked great. And I was like, that was great. And the second time I gave somebody a pump like 6 months ago, I haven't gotten it back yet. And now I'm kind of like, I just went and ordered a new one. I was like, I'm just going to like,
whatever. Yeah.
It's whatever. So I do keep that. I don't have a lot of room. I know some people with bigger offices have like a lot of pumps, like all the different ones to try, but I just don't have room for that. Do you keep big pumps?
We don't. I keep some emergency like hand pumps. Like if I was to have somebody like, I don't know, in some crisis situation or, we got to get this milk out or something like that, which doesn't happen very often. I feel like in my 11 years, I've had like maybe 2 or 3 times where something like that happened. But it has always given me a little bit of peace of mind. And it's just like the sterile pack little hand pumps that somebody could just grab and use right then, which is something that just allows me to like know that I have a backup plan. If all the other, tools or the things that the parent has aren't working, then I know that we have a backup plan. I like having that in my office. But yeah, I mean, I know like some people will also have like pillow options that they're using to show like different positioning and things like that. And I've found that helpful. And also like sometimes I don't want them to feel like they need to have any of those things, so it's like we have a basket that has like some pillow options, but don't use them a whole lot, but they're there because some people are like, that's the only way I want to do it. So I want to make sure that, their desires are respected. It is like, sometimes I want to hide that, like put something over it and be like, I'm only going to open this curtain.
I don't keep pillows at all because I don't really have a good way to wash them because I don't have a washer dryer in my apartment.
And then you'd have to be like toting it all around.
We only wash things once a week and it's too much. So I just don't keep them. I find I have had people bring them to the office. Like I kind of say, like, if you're using one, bring it, but I don't use them unless absolutely necessary. If anything, I might say like, if you want to use your pillow, like here's where you would put your pillow at home. Exactly. My goal is always to try to be like, you don't need it. I know. That's my own bias.
Like some people are like really attached to it and like they can't.
Listen, I use
right around
I used mine with my older daughter till she was like 18 months old. Like I tell everybody like this, I'm like, no shade on the pillow. Like I totally get it. It worked for me. But that was also in the days before we knew about laid back breastfeeding. Nobody taught me. I was doing the cross cradle.
Of course.
So I need my pillow for cross cradle. I didn't know any better. So what about small things like accessories? Like I feel like I'm always having like way too many size 21 flange inserts and then like, where are my 17s? Like I never like
smaller. Yeah. We do keep flange inserts again for like those like emergency situations where I'm like, they only have like the biggest size possible. And then they have like the tiniest size needed. And so I actually carry like mostly just the really small ones, the ones that you're not going to be able to get quite as easily. Because like Target, you can get like a 19 and 20 at Target. So I don't carry those sizes. I carry the 17 and the 15 because then I can send them home and be like, until you can get a whole flange, you can use these or you can continue using. And nipple shields. I mean, we don't use them very often, but I do have those on hand because I just like, there's those really crazy situations where like nothing else works. And I do like to have just the sterile pack ready to go. I can just open it and use it in those urgent situations. Luckily that I usually only have to buy those like once, because I'll get a case and I'll buy them like once every couple of years.
I just found and finally discarded like a Ziploc bag full of nipple shields that, remember when we would go to LCMPP and there was the Irish lactation consultant who would always break, like, how many shields do you want? Yeah, the MamaVac cherry nipple shields. And I found them.
Get them. You couldn't get them anywhere else.
You couldn't get them anywhere. And I had gotten so many of them and then wasn't using them because I didn't do in person for like 2 years. And I found them and they were like yellowing.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I felt so sad. Yeah. I was like, I have to throw these away. But I was like, I first need to just like thank these nipple shields. And I need to thank Chair Cahill for bringing them to Pennsylvania from
journey that
Ireland.
They had across the oceans to make it.
Traveled the seas to turn yellow in my.
Because I totally have some of those in this big box. I told you, like, it's all this stuff that like somebody in some conference somewhere was like, this changed my practice. It made everything so much better. And so then I was like, great, I'm going to buy that. And then ended up, it's still in this like random box of things that I'm like, maybe someday I'll utilize this tool. We don't really carry like a whole bunch because I, don't charge for these things. These are giveaways. So because I just like don't want to deal with the whole sales tax and reporting that, because in Texas, 1, you have to have a license to sell anything. 2, you have to report that quarterly. And 3, it's a big friggin' hassle. And I just was like, I am not going to put myself through that and now I feel like it's so much easier because people can get things so quickly. Yeah. It's like we're in that situation where for them to go out and get this item, it's going to take a super long time. And I also was always like, ethically, I didn't want to be tied to any commercial products. Like people would be like, oh, well, my lactation consultant's selling this. So, that influence. Yeah. I feel a little bit like that. A little weird. And I just like to kind of I always give like 3 options of everything and really try to not have, I just don't do any kind of sales. How about you? Do you sell? Yeah, I don't do sales. And it's the sales tax thing more than anything else. I just cannot, I can't add one more thing to my list, but also I don't think I don't like have the room. Like, let's say I had like a much bigger office where I could be like, yeah, here are multiple different options. Yeah, then I would feel like I have a store. You could buy things from me, but otherwise, that just feels too hard and too tricky. And space, like exactly, and stock enough to make it worth it. Because that's the thing. It's like exactly. You can't just have one of each thing. It's just so hard to make it worth it. And I can just like give it away and write it off as like a business expense.
the grand scheme of things, like I'm not spending that much money on flange inserts that I'm giving away in my office. Yeah. And especially for my self-pay clients, like I could never charge a self-pay client for a supply like that I'm giving out in the office, because it's like, you're paying me a lot of money. Like, I'm not going to be stingy about this nipple shields. Like, take all the nipple. Here's 7. Like, you know,
take what you need. Yeah. I feel like it makes it not awkward to use a tool. Cause like, if you're going to charge them for it, well, then you need to like, well, do you want to use this tool? And And it might be in the moment where their kid is screaming and like, and now you have to have like this whole conversation about like, well, if I use this nipple shield, you're going to have to pay for this nipple shield. So like, while your kid is screaming at you, do you want to make this really hard decision? You know, which for, you know, some people spending $10 or $12 might be a hard decision. And I don't want to put that added stress on them in a difficult situation. So
it's just not I know people do it ethically. Yeah, I know like there's you can have a retail operation in your private practice. Yeah. It is not, there are ways to do it that are very ethical. There are certainly some things to do that would cross the line of ethics. I mean, one of them would be for me, as an IBCLC without a medical license, I don't even carry herbs in my office. I don't give them, I would never give them out. I don't feel comfortable with that. I also feel like I could get in a lot of trouble in the state of New York for doing that. So I just that's something I do. And even like Meta Honey, I don't keep that and give it out. Like I tell people about it and they have to like, I'm like, ask your doctor if this is safe, but I'm not going to be the one that gave you the herbs or the Meta Honey. I think like the kind of like furthest I'll go into that is like, I keep the hydrogel pads. Like that's the most like medical thing that you're going to get from me.
Yeah. Same. I don't tiptoe into any of that either. And I think that it's just such and each state is different with all their laws and requirements and everything, but I have not felt comfortable with that either. And I really feel like our job is so much about like giving the information and then being part of the healthcare team and encouraging the family. Like, here's some information that I have. Now you go take that information and talk to the rest of your healthcare team to find out if it's appropriate, versus like, I am telling you to use X, Y, and Z at this interval. And here you can take it home with you before you talk to anybody else about it. And I'm like, no, not on my watch, not with what I feel comfortable with for my practice as well. So same. And the other thing that I like to keep on hand is like the other forms of supplementation. So it might be like some syringes. So if a family comes in and the baby, like, we got to feed them right that second, some things like critical mass, like I have some safe tools to use if the family doesn't have anything at home, you know, because some people like, I never intended to use bottles. So I have like literally no way to feed my child, that I have some different options for them, whether that be through finger feeding or something like that, where they can have something to get them started. Because there are those scary cases that walk in and like the kids, you know, really excessive weight loss. And we're like, something has to happen right now. We're going to be using that hand pump that I have, sterile pack, ready to go, my syringe and glove finger. We're going to like get this kid fed if, you know, latching at the breast or something isn't possible. So
definitely.
Like that I like to have for like emergency use purposes.
Definitely. And I just recently ordered, I've never done this before, but I ordered some breast milk storage bags, because then I thought like, oh, if we're working on pumping, like
you have a way to send it home.
Have a way to send it home with them if they don't want to have it in the bottle or whatever. I don't know. Just seemed like smart. That seems like a easy thing to have on hand if it doesn't cost much money. And that's where the doesn't cost much money is the most important ethical thing to consider is that there's nothing that I am showing to a client or giving to a client, or if I did retail selling to a client, that was given to me for free by any commercial entity. Like, I will not take a free pump. I will not take a free sample. I got in the mail, I think I heard a lot of people got these test strips for mastitis just like showed up in the mail. And I was like, well, listen, I'm never going to use it because
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Because they gave it to me for free already. It's suspect. And I also, I'm like, I don't really see the need. Like, this is like, maybe I don't even know, but I was like, well, don't send it to me for free. This is something I didn't really know when I was first starting out. Like I definitely would get the free samples of lanolin from Lansano, and I would give those out. And that was something that I just learned with time. It wasn't taught to me, but when you know better, you do better. And this is a case where all of these companies want to give you stuff for free. Don't take it. Don't take it. Don't take it. Don't take it.
They know that you're an influence. They know that will work for their marketing plan. And so it really is a slippery slope. And it feels like, hey, but this gives me a chance to test out new products and to see if I like them and things. But it is just a slippery slope into that kind of gray, dark area where we don't want to end up, being unethical about how we're serving our clients. So it's an important reminder.
Definitely. Well, our deeper dive guest, Nichelle Clark, is super ethical, super knowledgeable. We can't wait to see her. We're going to have a link so you can sign up in the show notes. You can come just to this one. You can subscribe to our subscription, or you can join us in our Patreon, and all those things will get you all kinds of fun access and past episodes and past deeper dives. And so thank you again for listening to us when we put these podcasts out. This was a really fun conversation. I'm also going to put a link in the show notes to a SERP course that I offer that is by Rachel O'Brien, that is also about supplies for, it's called The Right Stuff, and it's supplies for your home and office. And it's a great talk, and you can get a SERP for it. So that'll be in the show notes as well. So until next time, thanks, Leah. It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. To learn more about our monthly deeper dives and how to support our podcast for as little as $1 a month, visit lactationbusinesscoaching.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.